Ideal conditions in Provo, Utah at LaVell Edwards Stadium for tonight's battle out west. The 20th ranked Boise State Broncos 1-0. BYU also 1-0. I'm Dave Lamont with Ray Bentley upstairs. Allison Williams on her world tour of Utah patrolling the field for us here in Provo. It is an absolutely gorgeous evening, 71 degrees. And BYU will get the football first. That means starting for the first time, the freshman, Ray, Tanner Mangum. But everybody in college football knows who this guy is.
Right. An incredible splash onto the stage last week. He's pretty green, but he's brimming with confidence, Dave. And after last week's heroics, he should have.
So BYU, it is a white out tonight, so everybody encouraged to wear white, and the players are following suit in white uniforms with just a little bit of blue. And Boise, so many uniform combinations, impossible to guess what they're going to go with, but they've gone with sort of a black, little blue, little orange number.
Pretty snazzy. I like it.
Nice helmets, and I really appreciate the numbers on the sides.
Yes.
Well, let's go play some football. All the way from the B, and BYU will wisely take the touchback, and they'll take over the 25-yard line. So there he is, the freshman from, oddly enough, Eagle, Idaho, just a few minutes away from Boise. And he came down to two schools, Ray, here in BYU and Boise State.
Right, and he decided to come here and follow his brother Parker at BYU. And this is his first start, ironically, against his hometown team where he almost went. And it's going to be fun to watch him mature tonight.
And he's going up against a pretty stout Boise State defense as Bronco Mendenhall, who handles the defense for BYU, looks on. Under pressure, no. He avoids the sack on the first hit, but not the second one.
Armin Nance got there, and Mangum was waiting. He had a receiver right down the middle of the field. You see right there, number 10, and that's the other hero, Mitch Matthews, from last week. But Mangum couldn't get rid of it, and he got snowed under.
So the loss of 4 brings up second down and 14. Excuse me, a loss of 9. Second down and 19. And that's going to be 3rd and 19 on the short delivery to Algie Brown.
Not the start they had hoped for, that's for sure, for Tanner Mangum. And they're going to start him out a little slow. I expect to see a lot of little hitch routes, out routes, short little throws to develop him some confidence. But in this situation, Dave, the youngster's going to have to throw this one deep.
But he does have an arm.
He does.
He'll tell you that despite the time that he's missed, having been on his mission and not arrived back on campus till June, he feels that his arm is as strong as it has ever been. Boise with a lot of pressure again. On the run, it's a dangerous throw, but the receiver's open. 30-yard line, it'll be a BYU touchdown. Mitchell Juergens.
How about that?
Yards.
And Tanner Mangum picked up where he left off last week. Rolling to his right, let it fly about as far as he could throw it. He told me he could hum it 70 yards. It's pretty close right there.
Well, he's done it again. Just put him in a desperate situation, and apparently Tanner Mangum can handle it.
So here it is. One of these receivers up here is Juergens, and he just keeps working down the middle of the field, and he never gives up. And the problem is the Boise defender got caught with his eyes in the backfield instead of staying disciplined on the receiver. I really like the way young Tanner Mangum moves around, avoids the rush, shows us the speed, and then throws back against the grain. He hummed that one almost 65 in the air.
It's odd to say that's a 75-yard drive in 3 plays, but it was an 84-yard touchdown pass.
Well, he can hum the football. There's no doubt about that. And then to have the composure to keep his eyes downfield and let that thing go just as he's going out of bounds under duress. That's pretty impressive for the kid in his first start.
You're just thinking the emotions that BYU went through a week ago. Highest of highs, the lowest of lows, knowing they lost Taysom Hill. Trying to get through that, trying to get a new quarterback ready to be a starter, and then this is what he does on his first drive as a starter, is staggering. Now Boise State will get the football, and Jeremy McNichols will not even get to the 20-yard line. So Ryan Finley, the redshirt sophomore from Phoenix, replacing Grant Hedrick, will get difficult field position here for Boise State. Now Finley had conservative numbers, 16 completions for 129 yards. Last week was not the flashy Boise State offense I think that people are used to.
Well, they were going against Washington with their new coach Chris Peterson, so it was almost like an inter-squad scrimmage in some respects, and so they knew each other's tricks basically. So they Boise kind of kept it, I guess, on the ground more than anything, conservative. And I believe they'll unwrap those tricks out here tonight.
Fake to the tailback, Young. Out in the flat and incomplete. Ball hit the turf. It'll be 2nd down and 10, trying to get it to Jeremy McNichols, the sophomore from Long Beach.
Watching Ryan Finley last week, he was very good in terms of his movement in the pocket, his scrambling ability. Did not throw to the wide receivers as much as I think he'll eventually get to. Very quick to drop it off and dump it down.
A low snap, and they'll just eat the football at the 6-yard line. McNichols falls on it. Boise State was concerned about noise coming in here. Right now, this place is completely alive.
And this is just a case of the center, Marcus Henry, losing control of the football. It just slid out of his hand and really hit the ground in front of Finley. Had no chance at it.
3rd down and 23 following that loss. Devin Demas checks into the tailback for Brian Harsin, the head coach there for Boise. And they'll go conservatively with a handoff. Demas can move, and he'll get it out to about the 14-yard line. But a stout start for BYU. Sione Takitaki, who did not play versus Nebraska, one of 4 players that have been suspended for the game. He is an important player at the linebacker position. Boise will have to punt, and this brings up another problem the Broncos had last week, Ray. Special teams were poor.
Right, they gave up a very long punt return, had a punt blocked, and Coach Harsin took over punt duties this week, and he schooled them up. So we'll see if they learned anything, got anything out of it.
From the end zone, a lot of pressure on the kick, and this comes out a little wobbly. Will it even make midfield?
Got a nice roll.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that's kept that from being a real disaster. That was very closely blocked, nearly blocked out to the 44-yard line. Well, he's done it again, folks. Maybe it wasn't a Hail Mary, but it looked like one. Tanner Mangum gets it done for BYU.
7-0 BYU here early in the first quarter. The reason? Tanner Mangum. 3rd down and 19. He rolls to his right, escapes the rush, throws it from the 11 all the way down 60 yards in the air, hits Mitchell Juergens in full stride, and BYU strikes early on the 3rd play of the ball game.
He's back out there now with excellent field position, Ray, at the BYU 45-yard line. Adam Hine is the tailback, number 28. Hine stays in the block, quick throw caught, and it'll be BYU getting into Boise territory. It's Mitch Matthews who caught the Hail Mary, picks up at least 9, and they're going to mark him down just short of the 1st down.
That was an impressive read right there from Tanner Mangum. He saw the defender who was back from the receiver. The blitz came. He knew right where to go with it and threw a strike to Jonathan Moxey on the coverage.
This will be Hine, and down he goes. He's trying to fight to make that less of a loss, but it's going to be a loss of 2 back to the 48-yard line. This was a problem for BYU last year. Hine did run the ball well, but after Darian Thompson brought him down, that's a problem for BYU.
Yes, they have to find a way to run the football. Most of their rushing yardage in last week's game came from Taysom Hill and then Tanner Mangum. So whether it be Hine or somebody else, they have to get production out of some of those running backs.
And Hine had 37 of those 43 rush yards in Lincoln. They go behind the fullback, and Hine will fight and carry the defenders for the 1st down. That time, Ahi Ho-Ching, number 45, the fullback, led the way into the line, a gain of 4, tackled by Nance.
That was just power football from the Cougars. They ran an isolation right at the heart of this Bronco defense, and they push people back.
And you can see written on his left arm the number 4, Taysom Hill's number. And we'll have a lot more about Taysom Hill and his impact on this team as the evening goes on. Algie Brown, the tailback, 24. Stays in the block, going for it all right here. And it's intercepted inside the 10-yard line. Dante Dion, all Mountain West second teamer last year, got the jump. Pass a little bit underthrown, and it'll be Boise State football.
And Tanner Mangum has to throw this one a little bit further. He hung it up, and that's going to create problems. Now, he threw it up there trying to take advantage of the height differential between Nick Kurtz and the defender. Kurtz goes 6'6", and the interceptor on the play, 5'9", is Dante Dion. So he had the right idea. He's just got to put a little more mustard on it.
And for Dion, that's his first interception of the season, and obviously Mangum, the first one he has thrown. Boise State won the game last week against Washington without winning the turnover battle. They have a little edge here early, and from the end zone, Finley fires and has a man for a first down at the 19-yard line.
Hit Jake Rowe as tight end and on a corner route and stuck it in there. That was a really nice throw from Finley, who, you know, you got to be a little nervous throwing out of your own end zone in a long developing 7-step type drop, but they handled it well with the protection up front.
Back in the lineup for BYU, the safety Kai Nakua. He was suspended last week. He made the stop, number 12 for the Cougars, and they need him. Being chased, and Finley gets rid of it. Short pass is going to get it out to the 28-yard line. They're going to be. That's another first down for Boise State. Another throw to Thomas Spurbeck this time, gain of 7.
Finley looks like he's settled in now. The last couple throws have been right on the money and with good timing.
You kind of touched on that when you talked about Mangum, getting the young quarterbacks the shorter throws to build confidence. Now, of course, Mangum ends up heaving one for an 84-yard touchdown out of a desperate necessity. Finley stepping into the pocket, looking very calm, and a wide open receiver into Cougars territory for the first time. Very well executed that time, particularly from the offensive line, at 21 yards to Williams-Rhodes.
Another nice read by Ryan Finley, standing in there, and you see wide open is Rhodes, the receiver. A little headshot there at the end. Got away with one, did Michael Davis.
And Finley will keep it on a little bit of his own read, and he'll pick up 5 yards. Finley ran for 30 yards in the win over Washington in Boise last week. So 2nd and 5 coming up. Wadsworth in there again for BYU. Senior from nearby Orem, Utah. Finley so far 4 completions, 51 yards. The 25 is Williams-Rhodes and a first down.
And that's a situation where Finley has the option to either hand the ball off or with a pre-snap read decide to throw that screen onto the outside. He liked the numbers, got it out there, had a nice block out there from Chaz Anderson to spring it for a first down.
So in Idaho, they call this the blue zone where Boise State is in. McNichols will get to the 16-yard line. There's a good example. If you talked about north-south running, folks at home wonder what that is. There's a good shot of it right there.
He likes to just put his head down and head straight up the field. I love that. There's no dance at all in Jeremy McNichols. See what he did last week. Also did a nice job in the receiving and picking up blitzers. Outstanding job with that.
Yes, if we get a chance, we're going to show you an example that you won't believe if you did not see the game last week. This time Finley with the keeper. Nicely done, because quite a bit of the BYU tacklers went after McNichols. He is right at the marker. We think it's a gain of 7, and it looks like it's going to be 1st and goal.
This is where Boise traditionally likes to throw in some of those trick plays. See what Coach Harsin dials up here.
They've also gone to Wildcat in the past, but not now. That's Jake Rowe in motion. Pitch to McNichols. BYU surround. Oh, look at McNichols make that plant, cut, and go inside the 5 before Wadsworth brings him down. It's a solid gain of 6.
And when he puts his foot in the ground and makes that cut, he is out of there. Watch him just, boom, sees the little window, the gap, gets up in there. Mario Yaku with a nice block to pulling guard to clear it up for him.
So Finley this time under center. Williams Rhodes in motion. A lot of motion for Boise. McNichols, he knows where he wants to go, and he gets there. The ball is ripped out after the touchdown, and Boise is on the board on the 52-yard drive.
And that's just determination from Jeremy McNichols. I mean, he hit the hole 2-3 times and then finally bounces it out. Watch how he just pushes forward.
The ruling on the field is that the plane of the goal line was broken before the runner fumbled the ball. Touchdown.
Another thing about the Broncos, for all the glitter and glaze they put on their offense, when they want to be physical and nasty, they are.
Yes, they are. And in particular, last week, I was impressed the way they came out and ran the football.
That was also a problem last year. Extra points. Tyler Rossa had one blocked a week ago, but not this time. Jeremy McNichols, he's 5'9", 205, and all power. There are T-shirts in Provo now with the Miracle-Let Memorial, or it's called the Mangum Miracle. Speaking to some students today, they said it was about 3 or 4 days of nothing but celebrations at BYU until everybody kind of settled down and got back to getting to schoolwork. They actually had folks meet him at the airport following the trip from Lincoln. And Tanner Mangum won this group over very quickly. Both Algie Brown and Adam Hine are in at tailback. This will be Hine trying to get to the edge, and he is dumped very quickly.
Nice solid tackle coming up by Mercy Maston. I really like this second level of the Boise defense. They fly around and come up and take direct lines and shoot the gun. Not a lot of breakdown tackling. They just come firing right at you, just like Maston did in that play.
It was a very fast defense. They close very, very quickly. Keep it again. It's Hine again, and he'll get to the 30, and that's it. They're going to need 5 to get the first down. And teams will hike down the other end here at LaVell Edwards. That'll be a long hike. They're going to need all of our break time, and we'll provide them with a little bit of cushion. 7-7 at the end of one, and you better believe Tanner Mangum gave more thrills to his crowd on the 84-yard return touchdown pass, but Jeremy McNichols grinds in the Boise score. Got a little room to run on the right. Instead, he goes to the arm, and it's intercepted. Boise State to the 45-yard line. The interception again by Dion. Dion's got a pass down to the 20. Cuts back and falls forward at the 17-yard line. A late flag coming in. 2 interceptions tonight for Dante Dion.
And that's a case of a young quarterback right there. Mangum did not expand his vision wide enough to see the sloughing off corner where Dion was dropping back and kind of out of the picture a little bit.
During the run back, a personal foul, blocking below the waist by number 2 of the return team. The penalty's 15 yards, and it's first down.
You got Jonathan Moxley on the penalty, but you can see Mangum's looking to his left. He's rolling to his right. He's scrambling around. And, you know, I think the vision was blocked. He didn't see Dion because Adam Hine was right in front of him. I think that obscured his vision. And in his, you know, I guess, hurriedness to make a play, he let it fly.
With a lot of bodies in the way. He just barely got the ball over Ben Weaver, the linebacker. And now Boise State, even with the penalty mark off, is in great position here. All of those that's 2 false starts on 2 consecutive drives. Good idea to get to McNichols. Has a couple of blockers, and again McNichols lowers his shoulders and goes across the 45. Got more than the penalty yards back before Wadsworth brought him down. You know, this is a name we hadn't called in a few minutes, and why not get it to your guy who might be your most effective offensive player? That'll be a gain of 10 there.
Yeah, I would feed him constantly, and here's why. He's looking at 134 yards, all-purpose from last week. He returns kickoffs, did a nice job catching balls out of the backfield, and then just a relentless runner.
Longest run of the night for Boise State. Finley over the middle and into BYU territory again. That's Shane Williams-Rhodes making a grab at the 40-yard line, and Boise trying to play quickly. They get down after the 14-yard pickup. They do have all of their timeouts.
Rhodes is a little dynamite package. Williams-Rhodes, 5'6", 173. He benches 310 and squats 500 pounds. That's a powerful dude.
He is among the top receivers in school history. Came into the game hitting 73 for the all-time reception record. He's got 5 tonight, so make it 68. There's a trick play. Finley looking down the field. They're waiting for him. And the defense, whoa! Kai Nakua broke it up. 2nd and 10.
Immaculate timing from Nakua coming over the top. Here it is, little toss. Lateral coming back, you're going to see. And they're going to throw it down the field. This is your trick. There's the toss. Stop. Zip it back. That's a backward pass, a lateral, the throw. But the timing from Nakua was outstanding.
Is this a clean hit? Sure looks like it. Looks like Ball and Nakua get there at the same time.
Simultaneously.
That is clean. They were trying to get it to Holden Huff, the tight end. Screen. McNichols steps out of bounds, stops the clock after a gain of 7. 3rd down and 3. Exactly 2 minutes remaining in our half. Michael Davis on the stop.
And this was a way that Brian Harsin and Elijah Drinkwitz designed to kind of slow the rush down. They're getting so many blitzes that you just dump it outside to your back real quick. With another 3rd down, Dave. Boise 0 for 5 thus far in this ball game.
Finley over the top, and that's the ruling on the field is complete. And it is. Shane Williams-Rhodes converts for the first time on 3rd down for Boise State.
Not a very good throw from Finley, but an outstanding catch. You see it's behind him. He stops, turns back, goes up tall, and takes the hit, and still catches it against the defender's helmet.
Manoa Pikula was all over him that time. So that's the first 3rd down conversion for Boise State, and they're in at least field goal territory. McNichols, there's a double handoff. That's Williams-Rhodes. He'll get inside the 15. So a very quickly handled double handoff. Kafusi in on the stop.
Boy, Kafusi, he makes this play coming around from the backside, and it's a hustle play. Here he is up there. Watch him spin out now, and he's going to finish this thing. And that's chasing a much faster man, but he takes a good angle. He is so athletic at 6'8", 280.
Played basketball for the Broncos. And there he is again, number 90. Tackling Jeremy McNichols, forcing 3rd down. Clock now about to roll under 1 minute. And it's going to be 3rd down, Ray, in about 5.
Big 3rd down here. And thus far, BYU has only given up 1 first down in 6 attempts by Boise on 3rd downs.
Looking at McNichols on the screen. Instead, they go the other way. And not out of bounds. The receiver there, Fred Warner, in there on the stop. Devin Demas could not get out of bounds. So Boise will just burn a TO here and try for the field goal.
Excellent play by Fred Warner, tracking that down, and Brian Harsin uses that timeout.
So the field goal kicker, Tyler Rossa, in there. The redshirt junior from Marietta. He was 1 for 1 in field goals last week. He did have a PAT block. This one from 31.
So you're saying we had some action going around today.
And it's only September. Tough snap. But for the first time, Boise State takes the lead as the half runs out. The Broncos finally able to get something out of the great field position. We have not had a score since 4:13 to go in the first quarter. So Boise State leads BYU 10-7 at the half. Now let's send you to the BMW halftime report and Chris Cotter. Chris.
Bronco, first start for your freshman quarterback, a touchdown, couple of turnovers. How would you say he's led this offense?
He's doing fine. Running game needs to get going to help him out. That's the biggest key right now.
What can you do better to run the football in the second half?
Oh, assignments. They're twisting, moving a lot up front. We got a lot of assignment mistakes.
All right, what about defensively? What has impressed you, holding them to 10 points? Pretty good on 3rd down.
Oh, they've been great. Field position's been inside our 50 a bunch, and they're playing really well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
It is a whiteout here tonight in Provo, Utah, but it's the blue and orange of Boise State in front on a last-second field goal in the second quarter, 10-7 over BYU. Welcome back. Along with Ray Bentley, I'm Dave Lamont. We'll hear from Allison Williams here shortly. Who knew that an old-fashioned Big Ten game was going to break out today instead of the kind of high-scoring football we expect, particularly from Boise State. But this has been a defensive-oriented game.
It has. In the second quarter combined, both teams didn't even make 100 yards, Dave. And, you know, it's not what we expected, but it's a good football game. They're playing well, hitting hard, and the BYU defense has made incredible strides from what they did last week. And you look at some of these things that they've done, and getting Kai Nakua back is a huge deal. He comes up with the interception. Then Boise goes to the bag of tricks, and Nakua shows up again to break this play up. And then the other star is Bronson Kafusi. Here he is with a little inside move, tackling, making a play. And the BYU defense, to me, is the story here tonight.
So just moments ago, Allison Williams caught up with the Broncos head coach, Brian Harsin.
Coach Harsin, what can you do better offensively to take advantage of the field positioning you've had?
Well, eliminate the mistakes that we're hurting ourselves with. We just got to go out there and execute, settle down a little bit. We've kind of gotten some rhythm, and we've kind of hurt ourselves. If we can take that away and just go out there, execute, relax a little bit, that's really what we need in this second half.
What are those mistakes that are hurting you?
Well, we've had some false starts, a couple formations in there, the things that we can control, and we just talked about that. So our defense is playing great. Special teams stepped up there at the end. We got to get the offense going here. I think we will the second half.
How's Ryan Finley managed the noise as he played with the poise that you were looking for?
He has. He's done a great job. Yeah, he's really handled everything out there. I think he's doing a fantastic job, and expect him to continue that the second half. Thank you.
And he's going to find out right away, because Ryan Finley is taking the field right now after a touchback on the kickoff, and he'll take over at the 25-yard line. It'll be 227 consecutive games. The Broncos have not been shut out. You got to go back to 1997, the last time that happened.
Ryan Finley, 13 of 20 for 153 yards in that first half, and played relatively well.
Rolling right here with McNichols as a shield, and delivers a strike for a short gain out to the 29-yard line. We take a look at the numbers from the first half.
Well, you see the rush yards. Neither team really lighting it up, and the BYU minus 14. A lot of that due to the large loss on the bad snap. But this has been a situation where Boise State has not taken advantage of their field position. You wonder, will that come back to hurt them?
Second down and 6. To the ground, McNichols will get to the 33. Sets up a very important third down and 2. McNichols, straight ahead runner. Very impressive player, although he only has 25 yards on 9 carries. He does have the Boise touchdown. Third and 2. Broncos 1 out of 7 on third downs in the first half. Finley, that's a rope, and down the field will go Chaz Anderson into BYU territory and all the way down. They'll mark him out of bounds inside the 30-yard line, it looks like. We'll check on that as Michael Wadsworth brings him down.
And Hanneman has the coverage here, but a great route by Anderson stems him up the field, and that creates a separation, then a bad angle by Hanneman to finish that play, and Wadsworth saved him.
Well, that's a much shorter gain than we first thought. The ruling is he stepped out of bounds at the Boise State 48-yard line. So it is a first down for the Broncos, but instead of a long gain, it's 15 yards, but it's still a first. Interesting looking blocking pattern that time on the pitch to Demas. You saw one of the tight ends come over, Jake Hardy, and sort of block into the flow.
Here's a look at that last play, Dave, and we can maybe catch where he steps out of bounds. Chaz Anderson, yep, right there. You can see it. Boom. Good job by the officials. They're all over it.
So Demas getting the opportunity. They said he would get more carries, and he does. Bounces it to the edge. Cuts back toward the marker and does get the first down. Some slippery moves by Demas. I'm sure, Ray, you would rather he had stepped into the run and gone forward more, yeah, but he got the first down.
That's twice now he's basically outrun his blocking. He's just too quick, but he did break the tackle on the edge, and he's an interesting guy. At only 5'8", 175 pounds, when he runs between the tackles, he's one of those guys that disappears. You can't find him as a linebacker, and a lot of times you end up being able to just throw an arm out maybe on him.
He checks out of the ball game. McNichols comes back in. Fake to him. Finley's got plenty of time. Right back to McNichols, circling out of the backfield. That'll be a short gain. Direct hit from JLD that time to slow that play down. Second down and 8 is next.
Looks to me like Boise is trying to work the perimeter a little bit more, getting the ball out on the edge. We saw it with the out pass. We saw it with the sweep, and now on this flare to the back. I think that's one of their halftime adjustments. Try to work the perimeter a little bit more.
So on 2nd and 16, he said, moving the conversation along quickly, Boise State has 3 receivers at the top of your screen. Pressure, Kaufusi on the chase. Finley escapes one time. That's a smart play there by Finley. Kaufusi was all over him, and he spun out. And as McNichols comes back on the field, it'll be 3rd down and 16.
You are getting all kinds of different moves. Watch what this defender's going to do. He's going to loop around and create havoc. That's JLD. And all these different stunts that they're doing up front is confusing this veteran offensive line for Boise State. You got to give Bronco Mendenhall a lot of credit for his defensive game plan.
Jeremiah Leutah-Duyer, call him JLD. 3rd and 16. Pressure again from Kaufusi, and Finley going down the sideline and missed the receiver by several yards. So it'll be 4th down, and once again Sean Whale, but hold on, there's a flag down. Sione Takitaki providing the pressure that time.
A personal foul, roughing the passer by number 16 of the defense. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
Well, Takitaki went a little bit too far.
Take a look at it again and see what happens here at the end. And he just took basically a forearm to the face. not a really bad one, but you cannot hit a quarterback in the helmet.
Yeah, a little lower, maybe a chop to the chest might have gotten away with it. So fresh set of downs here. Jet sweep to Williams Road. BYU will snuff it after about a yard, if he even got that far. Manoa Pakula, and they were worried if he wouldn't be able to play or not. He cleared concussion protocol, did Pakula. But Bronco Mendenhall said he might last 1 or 2 plays. He might be able to play the whole game. He has played the whole game.
And he's played well. And the entire BYU defense has played outstanding in this ball game, making great strides from their inconsistent effort last week against Nebraska.
Fake to McNichols. Finley set up for some time. On the run, he finds the receiver inside the 15 and tight roping down the sidelines, but he's out of bounds. It will not be a touchdown.
That's a nice little play along the edge by David Lucero, who really is not even on our depth chart in terms of tight ends.
They listed 4, and he's the 5th tight end.
Right. And he comes across the field. Nice little scheme on the bootleg, and let's see where he steps out, because you're right, Dave, that's a tightrope job.
They got him at the 3-yard line and go to McNichols. He knows where the money is. His 2nd rushing touchdown of the night.
He looks fully recovered there. I love the way he runs. He is a north and south kind of guy, straight ahead, not a bit of dancing in him.
So after BYU took the lead on their opening drive in spectacular fashion with an 84-yard touchdown pass, Boise State has scored the last 17 points. That one, 75 yards in 10 plays in a tick under 4 minutes.
And the big play on that one was that penalty that moved them along, got them down in there to where they could get something done with the bootleg.
After having 1 block last week, Rossa has been perfect on the 2 PAT efforts. Now the ball is in the court of the 22-year-old freshman, Tanner Mangum, to see if he can rally the BYU offense that has gone cold because the Broncos' D has been tough.
Get something going on in the running game. That's the Cougars' issue to me, I think. And you know, you don't have Taysom Hill in his 90-plus yards that he really kind of changed the game last week.
That's my partner, the well-known author of Driftwood, Ray Bentley, at their BYU TV facilities, founded in 2001. And look at that. You said they got to run the ball. They're minus 14.
Yeah, and they're also down by 10. So.
And they're not going to get good field position. This has been a huge problem for BYU at the 15-yard line. Now, we've moved Allison Williams from field level into the stands with the Tanner Mangum fan club, I believe, Allison.
Yes, and they are the official fan club. It's family up here. Sister Abby, Mom Karen, and watching their son play for the first time at the collegiate level, because last weekend when he had that miraculous game in Nebraska, you were watching your other son, one of your other sons, at Idaho State, a senior there. So describe for me what last Saturday was like for you, because both boys had such tremendous games.
Certainly didn't expect that at all. We were there at Idaho Idaho State to support our senior, and he had a wonderful catch, amazing catch, one-handed. We thought, okay, that's terrific. In the meantime, Tanner has come into the Nebraska game, which we are watching on someone's cell phone's live feed. We're watching the plays. We recognize that it's down to the last seconds, and it's probably going to be a Hail Mary or not. And all of a sudden, our phone dies. With 20 seconds to go, our phone dies. And we don't know anything for a few seconds until our other phones start lighting up. And people are saying, oh my goodness, it happened, they win, and it was just so exciting.
I can't even imagine the emotions you were feeling not knowing the outcome of that throw, of that play.
And yet here we are sitting at Idaho State. We can't react because we're at Idaho State. So Abby and I actually, we left the building and started screaming.
And, congratulations on a tremendous performance by both your sons, and enjoy the rest of the game here in Provo as he leads this team for the first time at home.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Karen, Abby, nice to meet you. Guys, back up to you.
Ladies, thank you all very much. And they're down in 19, and of course at college that's against your rushing yard, so it's minus 18 now. And Mangum in some trouble, has a running lane, but he's going to throw it wide open to the 40-yard line. 30. Blackman inside the 25. Once again, the Boise secondary had a lapse on a scramble by Mangum.
And give Mangum a lot of credit on this one because he bought the time for this to happen. Watch how he's going to avoid the rush. It's a 5-man rush. He steps up, gets to the edge, and you have a defender on the outside who loses his eyes. You got to keep your eyes on the man you are covering, and that's the second time tonight that has happened to the Boise State defensive backfield.
So Devon Blackman gets a 70-yard reception, and all of a sudden BYU is knocking to the door with the 20. Running the ball is just not an option right now for BYU. Boise's defense just shutting it down. Zalgie Brown, Justin Tuia in there on number 90 to lead that parade of tacklers.
And Tyler Horn as well, Dave. And this defensive line for Boise State has been outstanding, and that is primarily why BYU has not been able to run the ball. It's more, I think, how good Boise is compared to the deficiencies of BYU.
They bring Dye in and they give it to Trey Dye. Flag is down, and Dye went nowhere. One thing about Boise, we saw it last week, and we saw a pretty fast team last week in FSU.
Holding by number 85 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty, and it's still second down.
But this Boise defense is fast.
And Brian Sampson's going to get the holding.
Please reset the game clock to 4.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy call
tackle
there. That's not even holding. They could.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Boise jerseys in the frame at the end of that play.
So now they're back at the 21-yard line, second down and 20. Matthews going in motion. And great run that time by Hine, breaking tackles and breaking the play in the end zone. Touchdown, BYU.
Just a power run by Hine. He's going to run right over Ben Weaver right there. Now Weaver did have a blocker kind of laying on his back. That was Riker Matthews, which might have taken his legs away, but that's just raw power from Adam Hine.
So a 70-yard heave as the defense let down, then a mental error leading to an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty helping on that drive, and BYU also overcomes a holding call with by far their longest run of the night. In fact, this is the longest run of the night for either team in this Western slugfest. Now Boise State's lead trimmed to 3. There is our score and time. Boise State 17, BYU having just gotten in the end zone. A 21-yard run by Adam Hine made this group happy. We got ourselves a game, but we always did. It was close all the way. Boise had hung up 17 unanswered. Now Jeremy McNichols trying to find room, and he will get nowhere to the 14-yard line. Fake to him. Finley on the roll. Dumps it out. That's going to be a good game here for Boise State. Outside the 30-yard line, Holden Huff, the redshirt junior from Rockland, California.
Ryan Finley has hit on 10 of his last 12 attempts. Playing much better here in the second half. The accuracy has been there, the decision making, and he has moved this Bronco offense smartly down the field.
Well, Eli Drinkwitz is the offensive coordinator, but you know Brian Harson's fingerprints are all over that offensive game plan, and they're calling some nice plays. Demas could not quite escape the tackle of Harvey Longy, number 21 for BYU. Gain of a couple.
Longy just keeps getting better. You know, he was a running back, transferred over, and they made a linebacker out of him. And you know, he has a knack for getting up in the hole, which he obviously learned when he carried the football.
Finley, deep drop back this time under pressure. That's a terrific throw and a great catch. It looks like Shane Williams-Rhodes outside the 40, an 11-yard pickup. Wadsworth on the stop again for BYU.
Yes, Finley's starting to spin it right here. This is on the run, making a really nice throw. He had to drill this in. There was a defender right there. He just snaps it off quickly and drills it right between the numbers. Well, right on the number. I guess it was a single-digit guy.
Good point. McNichols now, number 13, the tail. Will get it. It's by Kaufusi. McNichols. Kaufusi ends up tackling him, but he had to chase him a long way. Wadsworth got him low. Kaufusi got him high. Gained a 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. I look forward to watching Bronson Kaufusi in a couple of years in the NFL. Maybe in a year, actually. Senior has already done his mission.
The thing I like most about him, I mean, he's got unbelievable talent, but his motor never stops.
Finley hanging in, middle of the field. Grabbed inside the 35. Goes Williams-Rhodes before he is dragged down by Kai Nakua. First down, Boise, and you're right. Ryan Finley last week, Ray, threw for 129 yards, and he is way better than that. Right now, unofficially, 256.
And I think he's getting more comfortable sitting back in the pocket instead of trying to get out of there very quickly and all those type things. Second half, Finley, 9 of 11 for 103 yards.
Williams-Rhodes had only 2 receptions last week for 16 yards. This time they bubble screen it. McNichols. Ooh, that's a sweet move. McNichols, touchdown, Boise! "29 yards.
And he stopped, put the brakes on to set up the block, and it worked to perfection. That was his center, Marcus Henry, out there leading the way. And Wadsworth is trying to make the play. You get the push right there, and then the cutback, and that is a guy who just knows how to play this game. He's got an incredible knack.
So that is how you respond when BYU comes out and scores on you. Boise State goes 86 yards in 6 plays in 2:23 and regains their 10-point advantage, 24-14, with 2 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in our 3rd quarter. Now there's the magic 24 number for BYU. We talked earlier in the broadcast about Bronco Mendenhall's 24-point number, that it's so important for him. If they give up more than 24 points, they tend to lose. They 13 and 28 under Mendenhall when that happens.
Bronco a little disgruntled over that last sequence.
He's mad at the head defensive coach. That's himself. Take a knee here. BYU will take over at the 25-yard line.
Let's see if the young freshman Tanner Mangum can answer. His serve.
And there's a good example of his arm strength on that pass. He just whipped that out to Mitch Matthews. Gain of 8, 2nd down and 2. Here's a look at where Tanner has been throwing the football.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of production, deep shots, right? These right here. He's taken 6 deep shots in the ball game, and he's hit on 84 yards, 70 yards, and 41 yards. I think they should take more deep shots.
Thrown for 251 tonight with the 2 interceptions and the TD. Well, he's got time to find a deep receiver here. Crowd's going crazy, and there he buggy whips one. Ooh! And that ball is live and an alert play. Now they're going to call incomplete. Nick Kurtz just took a shot in the back. And then Mitchell Juergens grabbed the ball on the bounce and got out of bounds with it. But the call on the field is incomplete.
Well, there was no mercy from Maston on that hit. Mercy Maston, he's just bringing it right there. Caught him on the thigh.
I think that's a catch. And that's a great. Now Juergens may have caught that out of bounds, and that's perhaps why. But look at that. He got his feet down.
That's close. See if they ring down. I believe Juergens was out of bounds.
Definitely.
I think it's going to be a moot point.
Yep. Ruling on the field is going to stand here. 3rd down and 2, and it's a first down. Across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Straight ahead run play for BYU with Hine. They have not had a lot of success running at the middle of the Broncos defense, but they do this time.
And when they have had success, it's been Adam Hine. Without a doubt, I think he is grabbing the reins and is making a case for being the #1 back in this BYU offense.
15 carries, 42 yards, 21 of those on 1 touchdown run. To the 40, and there's the Boise defense closing very quickly. Devon Blackman picks up a hard-earned 4. As Mercy Maston in there again. That's just the wrong first name for a defensive player.
It should be No Mercy Maston. But I got to tell you, Tanner Mangum is impressing me with these throws that he's making from the far hash. He's throwing darts on the outside of the numbers on the other side. That's a long throw, and it's getting there quickly. Not many guys can do that.
Pitch out to Hine. He'll get to the next level and get into Boise State territory before he is dragged down at the Boise 46-yard line. Dylan Summer-Gardner in there on the stop.
And they've got a cluster of 3 tight ends over here on the right side, and they do a great job blocking down the field. You see a couple guys with their men on the ground. And that's what you need if you're going to run the football. You got to have guys blocking people, and they did a nice job of it there.
That'll be the end of the 3rd quarter. You know, we always talk about coaching adjustments. Well, they got the play off in time. I was surprised, and there's a big hit after the incompletion. I really thought they'd wind that thing down. Now it is the end of the 3rd quarter. And Boise State leads BYU 24-14 in a very exciting 3rd quarter, in part because of the efforts of Jeremy McNichols. Watch this little move. Out of my way.
It is a sea of 4s here in Provo as the BYU student section paying tribute to their senior quarterback Taysom Hill, who wore number 4, lost for the season due to a season-ending injury. But he is certainly in their thoughts as they hold up those cards with his number, waving them in the air. Chants of Taysom breaking out during the break. A really great seeing guys here, and I'm sure Taysom Hill, watching somewhere, is very touched by that.
I think we all are. Thank you, Allison, very much. We start the 4th quarter with BYU and Taysom's replacement, Tanner Mangum, falling forward as he had nowhere to go with that pass. And it'll be maybe a half a yard there. 3rd down and 9.5 coming up. 3rd quarter total yards, 280 in the 3rd quarter.
How about that?
Boise at 160, BYU 120. That was after 100 total in the 2nd quarter. So you talk about halftime adjustments. Coaching staffs have clearly made it, and the players have responded in front of a sellout crowd of over 63,000 tonight. Delayed handoff to Juergens, breaking 1 tackle. Trying to get to that edge, and he can't do it. The pursuit for Boise too good that time.
And Mercy Masson shows up again to make a play, and it's a decision time for Bronco Mendenhall. Looks like he's bringing out the punt team.
Well, you talked about this earlier. Boise had seen the situation at 4th and 6 or 7. A little bit considerably more difficult gamble than if you had 2 or 3 yards to go. And with Linehan, they'll see if they can't pin him back.
Well, there's another opportunity here for a fake.
Boise with 1 man hanging back at the 5-yard line. And he'll just take a conventional punt. Oh, what a play. That's inside the 5, down to the 2. Let's see if they do rule it. down, not a touchback. Yes, they do.
Mitch Matthews came in there and made a whale of a play. Now, the rule in college football is if the ball crosses the plane, then that's a touchback. And Matthews well aware of that. He's going to catch it and then throw it back into the field of play. That's an unbelievable play by Mitch Matthews, the senior, who just a smart, headsy football player.
So miserable field position for the Broncos. At the 2. And that's where they're going to stay. McNichols not able to go north to south. Let's take you back, by the way. You mentioned Taysom Hill and the locker room in Lincoln that BYU had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. If you had a chance to see that footage, if you missed that footage, we'll have it for you here in just a moment. Remarkable swing of emotions. Finley from his end zone. Going to take a shot down the field into coverage. Intercepted by Nakua at the 35-30. Nakua inside the 20. Down the sideline. He'll be knocked out of bounds at about the 11 or 10-yard line. And Finley throws a critical interception, and BYU's in great shape.
And the impact Nakua has made coming back into the lineup this week has solidified this Cougar defense. And another mistake by Finley. This is basically, I think, the second one of the ball game, his second pick that he would love to have back. He is not seeing the safety when he has guys running down the sideline, and he's not throwing the ball outside where it needs to be to get away from the safety. And Nakua can cover some ground.
Both the young quarterbacks with 2 interceptions both times, Ray. I think they just did not see those safeties on those plays. Now Brigham Young in a great position at the 12-yard line. Mangum takes to the end zone. Flag down. Oh! That's an unbelievable grab. Touchdown, Blackman!
How did he catch that? Now, there is a flag, Dave, as they were fighting.
No, wait a minute. Look at the way Blackman's reacting. And it's Moxie. Not Moxie, but that time Dante Dion, who's had 2 interceptions. He wants a flag against Brigham Young. This is going to be interesting.
Well, Blackman and Dion were fighting. I mean, they were both tussling, pushing, and the flag comes out, but I couldn't believe the catch was made.
Catch was spectacular.
Pass interference by number 19 of the offense.
You know, I knew something was up, Ray, when you saw Mangum come over to Blackman and kind of pull him away, and Blackman's reaction after that gave us the first hint.
Well, let's take a look at it. Here's the little play action, and Mangum's going to throw it up down the sidelines, and they were kind of wrestling a little bit before that, and it was due to the great position by Dante Dion. He cut the route off. How about that grab, though? That's one of them Odell Beckham specials.
Fans here, I think you can figure out their reaction. So now back to the 27-yard line. First down and long. Mangum. Blackman again. That's to the 21. They're going to say he was down. Gain of 6. So let's take another look. Was this interference?
And they were both battling, and the reason I believe it was called on the offense is because Dion had position. And in order for Blackman to get by him, he had to push off on him. He initiated the contact, which is kind of different than what happened when Jonathan Moxie got the PI called on him.
Second down and 19. They go onto the ground here with Brown. Brown gets inside the 10, the 5, and down to the 1.
And all this passing from Tanner Mangum has spread out this BYU defense. And that allows the run game to get going. And they caught him on a blitz and gashed him right up the middle.
Very similar to what they did on that final drive against Nebraska, running draw plays with the time running out of that game. That one worked to perfection. They go right up the gut. And are they in? I'm still waiting on a call.
He was in.
Yep, they got it. They got it. Touchdown, BYU.
And Tanner Mangum almost lost his helmet as guys were trying to rip his head off at the end of that thing.
Don't be fooled by that minus 30, because sack yards count against the quarterback in college football and count against your rushing totals. So a 1-yard plunge ends a 12-yard 5-play drive set up by the Kai Nakua interception. Now, the last time BYU went down and scored, Boise State came right back with a quick drive of their own in about 2.5 minutes and scored.
Nice hold.
Low line drive by Sampson. 3 points separate these teams. And by the way, there was a lot at stake coming in. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Earlier, Allison Williams showed you the impact of Taysom Hill on the Bronco fans. His injury certainly had an impact on Bronco Mendenhall.
I expect us to stand behind Taysom and make sure that he's at the heart of everything we're doing.
There we go.
And this victory doesn't happen without him as well, from a leadership perspective, from an ability perspective, and how he played today.
That was inside the Cougars locker room following that win over Nebraska and the emotional ride that Bronco Mendenhall is on. And guess what? He's in another one here with Boise State 24-21 in the fourth quarter. His team taking advantage of a Boise turnover.
You know, it reminded me of the old thrill of victory and agony of defeat that they kind of went all combined in one little segment in the locker room after that game.
McNichols with an opportunity to return the kick, but BYU's done a pretty good job covering him. Then some sloppy tackling, and McNichols is brought down at the 31-yard line. Bronco Mendenhall in year 11 has won 70% of his games, and Brian Harson's Broncos have won 10 straight. They lead this one by 3. Just about 5 minutes remaining on the run. Finley, and he will literally go on the run and pick up a couple. Hit bumped out of bounds, and that's going to knock over a couple of ad banners as well. Little hit that time by Tautu. 8-2.
Great coverage down the field. That really kind of took it away from Michael Davis. Was all over his receiver.
So Finley will start to drag some time out of the clock as well. And Nichols is the tailback. Let's see if he starts getting some carries.
I'd feed him right now.
And they do. Got one big man block, and McNichols, though not being able to go north and south, finally was able to get an edge. And let's see if they mark him at the 25 or the 26. Fred Warner playing very well. He had a fumble recovery against Nebraska last week, and he was around there again. It's a 4-yard pickup. Here's a gigantic 3rd down and 4.
This is a big play, the biggest play of the ball game up till now, and I look for this BYU defense to bring pressure. That's when they've been successful. They bring a blitz. They might even go man-to-man here. This might be one of those critical times where Bronco dials that up.
How does Boise State respond? They've been terrible on 3rd down, 2 for 10. Here is that blitz. Finley stepping up, and down he goes. He can't get anywhere with it. The blitz is successful.
And that's the 2nd sack of the night for Harvey Longy, who's an outstanding blitzer. And I think that goes back to his running back days. He knows how to find a hole. Here he is sitting right in the middle, and he's going to just time it up perfectly, make a move, fight through, make the sack.
So yet again, as both teams have 4 sacks tonight, Sean Whale comes out for his 8th punt of the night. Both teams with 8 punts. It's going to take a big roll, and smartly picked up there, because if Takanaka doesn't pick that up, that thing's going to roll another 10 yards. And he's going to be down in pretty good field position for BYU as the Broncos hang on to a 3-point lead against a team that knows how to win games in the last second. There is our situation. 3:33 to go. Tanner Mangum's gone all the way. Quarterback for BYU. Keeping him healthy is a #1 priority for the Cougars for the remainder of this season. And he's taken some shots. He's been sacked 4 times by a stout Boise defense. He'll throw. And closing in very quickly on the stop is Dante Dion, but it's a solid gain. Out to the 41, gain of 5 on the catch by Blackman.
Tanner Mangum, this is his time. And you got to wonder if he's got ice water running through his veins as he attempts to rise to the moment.
Again. Under some pressure, gets the pass off, but a very quick hit on Hine. He was slowed down that time by Tanner Vallejo. But for more on Tanner Mangum, let's get down to the field and Allison Williams.
Well, he told us in moments like this, the one thing he repeats over and over to himself is always in control. I've got this. I've done this before. This is what I've trained for. I know I can do it.
Well, he's 1 for 1 in that category as a college football player. This is his first start. 3rd and 3. Hine on the ground. He'll get a first down and plenty more. Hine and a touchdown saving tackle, that time by Darian Thompson, one of the team captains at the safety position.
Yeah, Thompson just ankle bit him to get him down because it looked like Hine was going to his egg. Little isolation play, and you see the block right here was key, taking Tanner Vallejo out of the picture. And that ankle grab right there might have saved the day for Boise.
93 yards, 19 carries now for the senior from Santa Clara, Utah. Play action fake to him. Mangum will throw it out and caught by Matthews at around the 30, maybe the 31-yard line before he's hit by his rival, Jonathan Moxey. That's an 8-yard gain. 2nd and 2. We're under 2 minutes. Both teams have their 3 timeouts.
And Mangum's throwing BBs out there. He stuck that one right on his buddy Mitch Matthews, and those two are kind of hooking up together in critical moments, building something here.
And there's no real reason for BYU to super hurry here because they have the control of the clock with the ball.
Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining.
I don't know if that's a broken play or not, but it's a loss back to the 35-yard line. Coming up for the stop for Boise State was Chancellor James. And that's also got to hurt him on field goal range, too.
Yeah, watch Nate Carter right here. He stops to go back for the draw, but Tanner Mangum goes too deep on his path, and he wasn't anywhere near him to make the mesh in the handoff, so he just tried to follow it up into the hole.
And what is called timeout, 3rd down and 7. Little pressure again. He's going to flip it down toward the end zone, and it is intercepted out of bounds. Incomplete. 4th and 7 now. You got to go for it, right? I can't imagine, unless you want to try to bomb a 52-yard field goal. The weather conditions here are ideal for that. No real wind issues, but that's tough.
Yeah, you have to go for this. I don't think Trevor Sampson can hit, what would it be, a 53-yard field goal? I don't think you put it on him there.
41 last week was his long. And that is indeed the call from Bronco Mendenhall and his staff. 4th down and 7 right here. Pressure from behind. Mangum flips it into the end zone. We've seen this before. Touchdown, BYU.
Mitchell Juergens climbs the ladder, plucks it out of the air, and nothing less than a prayer from Tanner Mangum.
He did leave 45 seconds on the clock this time. So Boise State will get a crack.
They're going to have to score a touchdown, though, to win this thing.
Now they will.
That extra point.
Yep, now they will. Last week it was Mitch Matthews. This time it's Mitchell Juergens. They have anybody else named Mitch on the team?
I don't know, but I'll tell you, if they do, Mangum will get it to him. How about him with the nerve to keep his eyes down the field, guys closing in. He's running out of the pocket. He sees his man. He just throws it up to give him a chance. And that's all Juergens needed. He goes up and gets it. An amazing play. History repeats itself a week later, apparently.
How many freshman quarterbacks have been able to either beat a quality opponent on the road and then put his team at home in position to win? Not a guarantee yet, because Boise is going to get a shot.
This guy's the Hail Mary kid.
Well, Juergens tonight, 4 catches for 172 and 2 touchdowns. The first one was, what, 84 yards on the first drive of the game, and they bookended with the last drive of the game. Oh, man. Mangum over 300 yards passing tonight.
This kid is something special.
Now, hang on a second, because this isn't over. Boise State will get the ball to the 25-yard line. They rush 3. Finley intercepted by Kai Nakua, his second pick of the night, and BYU is going to hang on. Nakua could house this thing. He does. Touchdown, BYU. A 50-yard interception return by Kai Nakua.
The hat trick for Nakua, his third pick of the night, and he turns the last one into a touchdown to cement this thing.
He did not play last week because of a suspension. 4 players were suspended by Bronco Mendenhall for the Nebraska game.
Just an incredible effort, and you're going to see Finley, no need to make this throw. Again, he just doesn't see a safety over the top, and it's tough to throw it over the middle like that. Great play by Nakua. His impact on this BYU defense cannot be overstated.
And the number 24, Boise's right there, right on it, and it's going to be Bronco Mendenhall's magic number, unless somehow Boise State returns this kickoff for a score, which they have not come close so far tonight.
It's the magic formula for the cardiac Cougs.
They are about to go to 83-12 at 24 points or more, and 63-5 when they score 30 or more under Bronco Mendenhall. This will also be the second win for Bronco Mendenhall's Cougars against an AP team, AP-ranked team. The last time was 2010.
He looked like the cougar that ate the canary right there.
He can probably smile. It's okay now. .25 seconds to go.
Bronco, his goal is to make BYU such an attractive team that any conference would love to have them. And I think they're on their way towards that. I mean, this is exciting, awesome, great football, and it's the second week in a row that they've been able to pull this type of thing off.
Now there you go, big finishes. And then an interception return for a touchdown just to cap it off, to blow it to 35-24. Finley's going to go deep down the field, and almost a spectacular catch at midfield by Jake Rowe.
Here's the man of the 2-week span, Jeremy Mangum.
Let's not forget, Ray, and I'm sorry to step on you a bit there. In the fourth quarter, the defense for the Cougars, they've given up 8 yards in this quarter, and they picked off 2 passes. Nakua, you mentioned 3 interceptions. That ties a school record. That'll do it, most likely, with the last play of the game, and an unbelievable emotional night for BYU. They continue to surf that wave of emotion to a 2-0 start and perhaps a ranking in the AP Top 25 next week.
They deserve it.
I don't know how you're going to keep them out. For Brian Harsin at Boise State, that's a tough loss. They had control of this game for a while. The great news is we're volunteering to call the rest of those games they play through 2023. And standing by on the field with Bronco Mendenhall is Allison Williams.
Bronco, first of all, 53 seconds left, 4th and 7 on their 35. What is going through your mind?
About the same thing that it was last week against Nebraska, other than more time. I'm impressed by my team. Really glad that I'm able to coach them and humble the season.
Tanner Mangum, when the pressure is on, how would you describe the way he handles it?
Man, it's a true freshman, his first start to beat the number 20 team in the country. Really nice start. I'm really proud of him.
Really nice start. Huge back-to-back wins. I think you might be downplaying it a little bit.
Thanks. Alex, I can't hear you.
Bronco, before you go, just describe the emotion these first 2 weeks.
Man, I've been through a whole season's worth of emotions already. Rather have it this way, though, than the other.
Thank you, Bronco. Enjoy.
Thank you, Allison, very much. And a spectacular night tonight for BYU. Boise State gave it a good shot, but they come up short tonight. BYU now 2-0. Boise State drops to 1-1. Party time in Provo. Our final score for the final time. BYU 35, Boise State 24. For our great crew, for my partner Ray Bentley, for Allison Williams, we thank you for watching. Coming up next, college football final. Good night from Provo.